All right, Steven, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Yep.
All right, let's get it. So, welcome everyone to another episode of We Got Next. I'm one of your hosts, Christian Hayes, aka Ayo Shifty, with my boy Steven on Twitter at Steven_Springs. And we just want to always bring you guys a lot of content and a lot of things. But today is a special day because today is the Steven Day. So, Steven, what the hell has been going on with you on Twitter the past day? So if you follow Steven's tweets, he has said something about Devin Booker. He has said something about Montrezl Harrell. He has said something about almost everything in the world. So what has been going on that Steven has turned into Skip Bayless today to just say something?
Bro, I just like pointing out everyone's corniness. you know that, like, bro, I don't even have to, like, you don't even have to say anything to me, or like, you don't have to mention it to me. But like, athletes are so corny sometimes, bro. Like, Montrezl Harrell, what the fuck are you doing? What are you wearing, bro? Why? Like, there's no reason. There's no, like, if it's Halloween, that's one thing, right? I'm cool with people doing whatever on Halloween, but like, that's not you though, bro. Like, there's like Russell Westbrook. He can get away with that because like we've seen him wear some shit, and that's just like I don't get it. Like, I don't know if you saw what, obviously you saw my tweet, what Montrezl Harrell was. He was wearing, like, it wasn't even some Iron Man thing. It was like,
it had words on it, I guess, talking about he's back.
Yeah, cool, bro. Like, you're like, cool. You're gonna drop 6 and 5.
That's what he's gonna do.
A couple fouls, maybe a block or so. Like, you're not dropping 20 and 10 anymore, dude. So that's one thing. And then Devin Booker. So the Raptors can't play with any fans in the arena.
I saw that.
If for those who didn't know, so the Suns were playing up in Toronto last night, and Devin Booker was at the free throw line. Mind you, this kid was at Kentucky, right? One of the premier college basketball programs ever. Like NBA and college ever, okay, playing in front of hostile environments. He's played in those games. He's hit clutch shots, all that. Also, remember, this team, the Suns team, went to the finals last year. So they, I know it was, the crowds are, they were different last year during the finals and the season because of the pandemic rules still. But, bro, you played in front of, 15,000 people nightly on the road, and you're trying to make free throws. You're going to get upset. Devin Booker was at the free throw line, missed the first free throw. It's only because you missed it, bro. Like, that's not on the mascot. And what happened was the Raptors mascot was behind the bench doing what mascots do and doing what everybody else does who's sitting behind the basket. I think I might have said bench, behind the basket. People throwing stuff in the air, pom-poms, like student sections throwing pom-poms. There's always someone at the game. There's people yelling, screaming. You're going to get mad at the Raptors mascot for jumping up and down because you missed a free throw because you didn't do your job. And then you had a tattletale on the mascot and told the referees, "Hey, he's jumping up and down." Yeah, bro, he's a fucking mascot.
That's what he does.
He's a mascot. And then the referees made him sit in the corner like it was timeout or something, like I do to my son. Like, bro, Devin Booker is also the same person that said you can't double team during a pickup game. Bro, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, dude? You can do whatever you want in pickup games. It's a pickup game, bro. There's no rules of pickup games. This isn't the league. Like, so I had to point out people's corniness. I'm tired of it. I'm sorry. Like, if that's taking the fun out of it, if that's being the fun police, fine. So be it. But I'm pointing out your corniness. If I see you being corny, I'm going to point it out, dude. I'm going to point it out. That's it.
So follow Steven on Twitter because I saw that the past day. And I was like, all right, something must have hit Steven. Today and yesterday, you started noticing it. So I wanted to start off with that because today is Steven Day. I'll go over the lineup really quick before we go into the fast break. So we're going to do the fast break. Then after that, I have a decent amount of crypto stuff. If you watch the video that came out on Monday, you'll know a lot of the stock stuff and the crypto stuff, but I'll go over some of it today. And then we have sports. So as everyone knows, it was Black Monday. A lot did happen since I recapped it on Monday. Another one that Steven and I did bring up did end up finally happening with another coach being fired, but we'll get into all of that. And then of course we do our recap at the end, but without further ado, we have to give the video. I went back and forth a while, but Klay Thompson is back. And I feel as though coming back from an injury, the way that they did this, he tried to hide his hypeness. Like, I promise you. And all of that's for you.
I love me some Clay. I don't know if you heard so I wanted to point this out too. Oh, he's hyped now.
Yeah.
He has like the perfect name for an announcer to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like the way the announcers like draw out the first name and then draw out the last name. And he's got perfect like one syllable first name. They can do the Clay, and then his last name is two syllables. Thompson, and it's perfect. So that announcer, I don't know if you like listened to that. I'm sure you did, but
Yeah,
it was like a spot on. Like, he's like, the announcer had like the deep kind of like raspy voice, like a
yes,
like an old head announcer just smoked a pack of cigarettes and shit.
yep.
So that was
how they
that
did
was
it
good.
for Michael Jordan.
Yeah. So I really I enjoyed that one. I don't know, like I'm not like overly hyped that Clay's back. Like, it's cool. Like, it's it's fun to watch him play because he's nice. And
Yeah,
he can drop 30 points in a quarter and drop however many points with 11 dribbles or whatever. So like, it's cool to have him back, but it's not like we missed. And I don't want to like downplay it because he's had two of the most significant injuries, like basically in sports, other than career ending types of injuries. But I don't know, it's like cool. Like, Clay's back, like good for him. First of all, good for him. He's had two season ending injuries towards Achilles, or towards ACL first, and then towards Achilles secondly. And then
that's
came
tough.
back.
Yeah,
Like, those are two major injuries that dudes really never come back from. So, I mean, and then he's hopefully going to keep his career long, because it's not like he's one of those guys who's driving to the basket all the time, using his athleticism, like bouncing up and down, everything like that. So it might make his game better, because it might make him not do that and make him stay outside and just keep shooting threes. But it's like, it's not like LeBron or KD or Giannis came back from two back-to-back injuries, and you're like, damn, like, cool, like one of the top 5 best players in the league is coming back. It also makes them a lot more dangerous. So it's better for the Warriors as a whole, for their championship hopes. But I mean, overall, good for him. It's been a long road back, and if anyone follows Klay Thompson on social media, he's a good follow, because like, he's hype.
yeah.
Bro, why is he always on a boat by himself? Bro, why is he on a boat by himself all the time? Like, does he not have any friends?
I was gonna say the same thing.
Like, my man's just on a boat. He's driving the boat.
Yes.
Like, and so sometimes I think he just puts that shit in cruise control, anchors down, and just like chills. Like, he's just like, I've never seen him in a video like that he posts like with anybody else.
No,
he's just chilling on a boat by himself. I mean, like, more like, I mean, shit, bro. Like, I would do the same thing.
Yeah, so that was what I wanted to bring up. We will go into Clay in a little bit as well, because he was in a different video, not on a boat, but we'll talk about that in a second. Something I want to bring up is just the stock market, because a lot of people have had concerns, and they just also brought up like the inflation amount, and how some people are saying that inflation is transitory, but the inflation rate currently has rose to over 7%, which is a big thing. You guys can see it when you go to the grocery store. Used cars are through the roof right now. The home prices are through the roof. But the reason why I brought all this up is it's a challenge that I'm going to end up doing, and I will end up putting this out every single month. I won't put it on social media, but if you follow the podcast that we have, and then also if you guys get the newsletter that I send out on Wednesdays, I will put this in there for you all. But it's a challenge that I heard about from a hedge funds manager, and then my dad also brought it up to me. So you put $300 away each month, and you do this for 8 years, and it'll end up coming out to over $1.4 million. So it sounds like on the surface, how the hell is that possible? But you have to do various different interest rate formulas, and then compound interest rate formulas, and doing it with the stock market. If the stock market gains around 8 to 10% annually, we're talking about the S&P 500 more so, then if you do that and you dollar cost average each year, and you stay disciplined with it, it will come to over 1.4%, since the stock market does return 8 to 10%. So with that being said, it's something that we will end up doing. I will do it at the end of this month. once I end up going to my job, I get like a signing bonus. So I'll start with that, and then I'll report this to you guys every
Signing
single
bonus,
month.
man.
Yeah, I know.
My man's making it big, bro. When you get a signing bonus at a job, you know that you made it in life.
I know. So I do have to shout out to them. And I also have told
Shout out.
my new job, Freddie Mac, about the podcast. And that's something that they are excited about. Some of them do end up watching it. So thanks to everyone out there that does watch it. And then the hope and goal is secretly someone from the job will end up coming on the show. Don't want to end up saying any names yet until I confirm that. But I brought all this up because each month I will be reporting this. So if you guys stay with us for 8 years, that means that Steve and I are locked into talking about something randomly for 8 years. I will end up just letting you all know. So after 8 years, we will see if the challenge does come to fruition or if things end up going astray. Either way, and I was talking to another friend today, if it does end up going to 1.4 million in 8 years, that's great. If it doesn't, the amount, if you just put 300 aside for 12 months for 8 years, it's $28,000. You can still do some with the $28,000. So either way, it'll be something, but that's what I ended up wanting to bring up with that. Another thing I wanted to talk about was just the metaverse, and that's a great segue into cryptocurrency. But so the metaverse real estate is becoming a big thing. It's basically buying plots of land. Think of the Sims, and you're buying plots of land either on the Sandbox, Star Atlas, Decentraland, and there's a bunch out there, just to name a few. Clone X is another one that has pods and stuff of that nature. I brought that up on previous episodes, so you guys can check that out. But I just wanted to end up bringing that up super fast. In terms of another thing with the metaverse, Disney filled out a patent to end up getting involved in the metaverse. They want to do a theme park in the metaverse. So for anyone out there that ever thought that the metaverse wasn't going to be a thing, if you have Disney a part of it, anybody in the right mind will then say, all right, there has to be some validity to this. If you have Disney becoming a part of the metaverse, you have Meta, aka Facebook, changing their name, the parent company name, to Meta. They're trying to get involved in the metaverse. You do have Microsoft that's involved in it as well. And then you have AMD, Advanced Micro Devices, that is getting a part of it as well in terms of Microsoft too. So you have all these different players that are focusing on the metaverse because, one, there's not enough land in the real world that you can keep building out there to keep building houses. So it will go into the virtual reality world, but also VR and artificial intelligence and augmented reality is becoming something that's very important and something that's real. You're starting to see it with shoes. You're also just starting to see it in terms of a lot of more people playing video games and things of that nature. So 2 different ways you can think of the metaverse. Think of the Sims. And for everyone out there that ever has played Pokemon Go, Pokemon Go is more so your AR, and then the Sims is a small version of what the metaverse is. So I just wanted to end it up just touching on those really quickly for you. Just dive more in depth into the different things that I did say, but going into Bitcoin, Bitcoin did fall below 40,000 when the Federal Reserve ended up announcing that they were going to slow down on the quantitative easing. For everyone out there that doesn't understand what quantitative easing is when they would buy back more and put more money into the stock market, and they're trying to slow that down, which ends up leading to taper tantrums. And taper tantrums are when they pull back the
Temper
amount
tantrums?
I know. That's exactly what it is.
I know what those are.
People. Yep. So they said that they were going to increase interest rates. And when you hear about increase of interest rates, people freak out and think that they have to take money out. But what that ends up meaning, prices will come back down to reality. It more so will affect companies that do not have positive PE ratios, or also if they don't have positive like earnings. So companies such as like Amazon and Tesla and Apple, those companies will be fine, but you will see the lower down companies be affected. Also, in terms of cryptocurrency, companies that just randomly say that they're going to do something, never do it, they will fall to shits. But companies such as Bitcoin and stuff will still stay strong. As you can see right now, it's sitting at 43,800. And a reason for that is they did say that they weren't increasing interest rates right now. So of course, the market can be very reactionary. So that has led to Bitcoin and Ethereum, all of them starting to increase up. At one point, USDT, which is Tether, was sitting at number 3, but now they're sitting at number 4. And that's because more people are starting to put money back into the market. You see all of them using basically in the same shape on the graph. So you have Bitcoin that's doing it. You have Ethereum that's about to go back into the positive. Binance, same thing. And then another important one, you have Cardano. So all of their charts look exactly the same. I just wanted to bring that up. The other thing I want to end up just talking about super fast for everyone out there is Unison. So Unison is a centralized / decentralized exchange. They actually will be releasing and launching their exchange on January 14th. So that's later this week. There have been rumors that Elite Zero might be a company that is on there, but what we do know for sure is Quant Network will be one of the cryptocurrencies that will be launched on Unison. Quant is something that you can pick up almost anywhere. KuCoin, you can pick it up on Binance, you can pick it up on Coinbase. So end up looking into Unison. I promise you the price will start to go up once the exchange gets listed. That's not financial advice. It's just more so if you look at all the different exchanges, they all go up, their token does.
Christian is not a licensed financial advisor. Do not take anything he says about finances seriously. If you do put money into something and you fail to make any money, it is not Christian's fault.
So we have to say that because I know some of you all have, I promise you I've had people end up reaching out to me saying, if I put this much in, do you think I'll be a millionaire? I don't have a crystal ball. I can't really tell you that. If you even go to like hedge fund managers, they can try to say you might end up increasing, but nobody can promise you full gains. The stock market is a legal lottery in a casino. Same thing with like cryptocurrencies. You're just betting on what the future can potentially be. If you want to do even stronger bet, then cryptocurrency and stock market, go into margin trading or even go into Forex. But so that's one thing I wanted to bring up. Another thing I wanted to just end up bringing up as well is Strike. So Strike is launching their Lightning Network now in Argentina. If you remember, they launched their Lightning services in El Salvador, and now they're going to end up launching in Argentina. So a lot of people are saying maybe Argentina will be the next country that ends up making a legal tender. I don't know if that'll happen yet. I will say that Fidelity has said that there will be another country that makes cryptocurrency legal tender, more so Bitcoin. And I believe it'll be a Latin American country. If it's not a Latin American country, it will be Ukraine. Reason why I say Ukraine out of all the European countries is because if you look at how Ukraine acts and how they are with technology, Ukraine and Russia are two different countries that always focus on technology and move into that Bitcoin realm. China won't be one because China, of course, bans everything and they don't let their citizens do a lot of things. But just pay attention to that in terms of what happens in Argentina with the Lightning services. Another thing is in Germany, one of their online banks, N26, later this year, they are going to launch crypto trading for their clients. This will not be for all their clients. Of course, it'll be so for your financially, the ones that have a lot more money, so your higher up clients, and then they'll end up lowering it to a lot of your retail investors and your regular clients. So if you're in Germany and you think that you're with them and you have like $2 in your bank account, it probably won't happen yet. They want to test it with their high net worth clients and they'll end up going down. But down the line, a lot more people end up doing this. Another thing I wanted to bring up for you all is Ethereum Printer. So it's called Ether Printer, and I'll just show this to you all because they just launched their V2. And what this is, basically, if you have money in it, and then for every transaction, each person will get paid out for it. A percentage. Currently, the market cap is sitting at $36 million. This is just me charting of how it was, and it's just an example. I won't get too in depth in it. It was sitting in a wedge right there, and then it broke out of the wedge. Then it was sitting on the trend line, and then it broke the trend line. Currently, it's still sitting underneath of the trend line, and the goal is for it to end up breaking the trend line that I did end up making. So these other lines are what the support is, and then if you notice right there, it bounced above the trend line right there. Won't get too in depth into it, but just wanted to end up showing that to you all so you guys can end up seeing that as well. But so that is everything in terms of Ether Printer, and then also most of the cryptocurrency things. Elite Zero, like I mentioned before, Elite Zero should be launching this month. Another one that will be launching is Panther Protocol. So pay attention to those two. And finally, the stock that I have for 2022 is NVIDIA. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. NVIDIA is the stock that I believe will perform the best, or that a lot of people should end up holding. If you don't want to ever hold just a stock itself, you can end up buying the ETF. So SMH is the ETF that is with microchips. That's everything I have today for cryptocurrency. And I was bringing up different countries. So I'll say going into sports. And the first thing I do want to bring up is, Stephen, have you heard about the rules in North Korean basketball?
It's funny you mentioned that. I saw something a handful of weeks ago that I think I meant to send it to you, but I didn't. They were pretty outrageous.
It's some wild shit how they have it.
Super outrageous.
So I noticed one thing is you get deducted points for free throws you miss. Yeah. And then for like a 3-point shot, if it touches the rim or whatever, you end up getting 3 points. If it doesn't touch the rim, you get 4 points.
Yeah.
A dunk is 3 points. And that's just like some of the rules. I do think some of the rules are kind of good that we should have here, like free throws. I promise you, Shaq will try to make more free throws. Ben Wallace back in the day would have tried to make more free throws, or they just would have sat their asses down. So it would have been like one of the two, but North Korea just does things differently. So not surprised, but also dunks. It just tells you not everyone there can dunk, because they're not going to be doing that if everyone could dunk, or they're all protecting the paint. It's one of the two as to why. I can't tell you what the real answer is, because none of us can see games that are happening in North Korea. Reason why my man got everything on lockdown over there. But that was one thing in basketball. The other thing, before we talk about anything else, I am going to say shout out to the Grizzlies and shout out to Ja Morant and shout out to how far they have come. And if you want to get on the bandwagon, I am not like Steven. I do not let people on this bandwagon, because for so long, so many goddamn people didn't even think the Grizzlies were going to be anything. And look at Zion. They went with Ja Morant. Everyone was like, oh, Zion's the better one. Yeah, all right. Look how that's turning out for you. Just some of his stats this year for Ja. He's averaging 24.9 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, and he's on pace to have an all-star season. Let's just say that. He will. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So that's a big thing. And a lot of people believe that he'll end up being one of the faces of the NBA. I believe he can be. I don't like when people say this stuff early. I would want to end up seeing it more, because if he becomes a base like how Giannis is, that's huge for a small market like Memphis. The best thing in Memphis, of course, like they have the Blues and they have like barbecue food and stuff. Another thing is like real estate there. But for them to have one of the faces of the NBA potentially in the future would be a big thing. They have Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks. Steven Adams is the highest paid person on that team. That says so much to everybody out there.
Bro, did you see Ja Morant's block against the Lakers?
That was some nice stuff.
Yo, that was
2 hands, and he didn't even go out of bounds with the ball.
The top of his hands were at the top of the square, which I've seen very few people get up that high.
Yeah,
that isn't a dunk contest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that like. Yeah, I thought he was gonna, block it, but he went up to get it up.
That's a disrespectful block too. It wasn't one of those like smack it off the backboard like LeBron. I believe that if you grab it with 2 hands and just bring it down,
smacked his elbow, but then he smacked his head on the bottom of the backboard.
Yeah. So and they're not going to win the finals this year. Anyone out there that believes like they're that good this right now, no. They still need 1 or 2 more pieces. The pieces they have are solid to get them in the playoffs and potentially like make a push out of the first round. They still need 1 or 2 more pieces, because as long as Steven Adams is your highest paid player on the team, you guys still need to end up doing something. But it shows that they have a lot of cap space. If Steven Adams is getting paid like $12 million a year, because Ja's on the rookie deal.
What are they? 4 seed, 5 seed, right?
Yep, 4 seed.
Good for them.
That's one thing I wanted to bring up. On the other side, the Magic, the Pistons, and the Rockets all suck, and the Thunder. But
whatever, dude. I don't want to talk about it.
But they're getting ready for the draft, so we can't be too
mad at them. The Pistons finally don't have the worst record in the league.
No, but you know who they got? They got Bol
Stop. I'm not doing this, Christian. I'm not doing this. You hit me up like, congrats on getting Bol. Like it's like we just won the lottery or something like that. Like, get out of here, bro. What are we doing? What are we doing?
They tried to hype that man up so much when he was in Denver, and it was such an embarrassment.
What are we doing, man? We gave up a second round pick. What are we doing?
So that was one thing. The other thing, the wild part is the Sixers are now not just trying to trade Ben Simmons. They're trying to combine it with Tobias Harris. And someone said, how the hell are you going to be able to trade $70 million in a package?
It was Kuzma. Kuzma said, "He's like, how are you gonna be able to trade that kind of
Yeah, exactly. Like, how are you going to do that? It doesn't make any sense." But so
I don't understand when teams do that. Like, I understand trading a player like Ben Simmons, who is just like not going to play.
Mhm.
I mean, I think everyone in Philly just knows that right now. He's not going to play anymore for the Sixers.
Yeah.
And then Tobias Harris, outside of Joel Embiid, is probably your best player.
Yeah.
Shout out to Danny Green, but he's your best player.
0.
So like, what are you gonna get? What are you gonna get? Like, if you're trying to win a title, right? And the Sixers have, like, they have a chance. There's a handful of teams in the league that have a chance if something happens that they can get hot, and they have one of the premier players in the league, one of the best centers in the league, Joel Embiid, averaging 20, 26, and 10. But like, if you're trying to win and win now and like in the next handful of years, while Embiid is like still getting to his prime and entering his prime and everything, and you're gonna trade Tobias Harris for probably like next to nothing, like you're not gonna get the same value in return. Like, you're just not. Or you're gonna get some draft picks that you hope in 3 years, 4 years turn into all-star players. So like, I don't understand why teams, like, if you're the Pistons are trying to trade Jeremy Grant, which, like, I understand. Like,
they just signed him,
dude. I know. Okay, Christian, shut up. I know. Like, I've been through this for a long time. All right, I know how it works. So like, that's one thing. Like, you're trading, the Pistons suck. That you're trying to get rid of Jeremy Grant and get some more assets, get some more picks. You maybe get a player of slightly lesser value in return, and Jeremy Grant's having a good season. But like, if you're the Sixers, why? What are you gonna get?
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna get a player that's equal or better than Tobias Harris? Probably not.
Absolutely not.
Because no team wants to do that. No team wants to trade those players. They don't even
value him the same. Like, most teams are not valuing him on that level.
Like, he's a streaky guy. He's not as streaky as Danny Green, but he's streaky. Tobias Harris has one of those games every now and then where he'll drop 25, and you see why teams wanted him, and you see why he's why he'd be worth a good pick, or a player of equal value. But like, I don't get it. Like, and then you gotta like kind of restart, and you gotta like build the chemistry again. You gotta go through the draft again. You gotta try and plug the holes and everything. It's like, I just don't get why teams go through that process of like giving these guys contracts, like for really no reason. Fucking John Collins wants out of Atlanta. My dude, you just got paid $160 million or something like that.
Yeah,
you want out?
Want to be gone.
What did you expect, though? That's different. Yeah. That's a different scenario. What did you expect? If you're John Collins, what did you expect? Like, if you got 100, I think you got 120 or something like that, 125. If you got that kind of money,
pay him.
That's not going to turn you into an all NBA player.
No.
Like, that's a shitty move on the Hawks' part to value him at $120 million when you could have gone out in the market, let his ass go, and probably find somebody else and give them that kind of money. Why am I not? Why am I not a GM?
Dennis Schroeder. So
I should be a GM.
The way we value this stuff, because the way they value it, they just want to write checks for everybody. I promise you. And it reminds me of something, because Elon Musk did this to one of his assistants. He was like, all right, take a break for 2 weeks. And then he ended up not bringing back the assistant because he realized during those 2 weeks he didn't need him. Long story short, if you let them test the market, you will win in the end, because a lot of these players are not going to get the same amount of money on the open market as they would with you. You guys value them here. Everyone else values them here. So I
think it's more so the players value themselves high.
Yeah.
Like, the teams, like, bro, like,
sorry, player and agent think they're through the roof.
Yeah, it's just way too much money to give. There's only a handful of players in the league that you're going to
really deserve it.
That kind of money too.
Yeah.
And even those guys take less money so they can bring in, other top tier players so they can play together. Mm-hmm. John Collins, you're hogging all the money, bro.
I know they can't do that.
That's why the Hawks aren't going to go anywhere, because they're gonna eventually have to pay Trae Young $1 bajillion.
That's gonna be a dumb contract.
Yeah, and they're gonna like John Collins. What? I would just fire everybody. I would just fire everybody.
So speaking of firing, we just gonna get right into it. So Black Monday wasn't too long ago, and I'm pretty sure Steven and I were spot on with most of them.
Bro, we nailed it.
I got one wrong.
We nailed it.
And I just was saying Kevin Stefanski, but I said Stefanski or Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's technically gonna be out at the rate he got to have surgery, so who knows when he'll actually be back. But the openings that we do have are the Giants have a GM and a head coach that's open. The Bears have a GM and a head coach. Vikings have a GM and a head coach. You get the trend with that. Broncos and Dolphins and Jags and Raiders just are looking for a head coach. So big one I'm happy about, which I knew was going to come, was Giants one. They just tried to play the whole, GM got let go. If the GM gets let go, you're more than likely
there's no way
just get rid of the head coach too. Yeah. So that's like the big thing with that one, because they made it seem like, Joe Judge had a conversation with the players. It wasn't about anything serious. They were talking about the future. No, the future is.
Yeah, he was talking about their future.
Yeah,
not his
not
future,
yours,
their
not
future. You guys are going to be good. Me, not so much.
I don't know what I'm going to do. They also got rid of Garrett earlier in the year. So it was like.
Complete reset.
They just got to reset. Out of all the head coaching firings, which one would you say was surprising? And also, which one looks the most enticing to somebody?
Brian Flores, for sure, is the most surprising. Like, I don't think there's a reason. Like, I would love to know what that conversation was like between him and the GM and the owner and whoever else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they started 1-7.
Yeah.
And they finished
only team that had two different win streaks.
What did they finish? 9-8 or 8-7 or something like that? 8-9, something like that. Now you have 17 games. It's hard to figure out what
it's tougher, yeah.
But I don't think there's a reason why they should
9-8.
Yeah, you finished 9-8 in that division with the Bills and the Pats. Yeah, that's really good. And like, you had a quarterback who was out, inconsistent this year. Just a team in general who is inconsistent. Obviously, you start off fucking 1-7, you're inconsistent as hell.
Yeah.
But like, that's another thing I don't get. Why? The players all loved him.
Yeah.
Players all loved him, and even other like athletes.
Sean Watson.
Okay, we'll get to that. even other players in other sports were confused by it.
Yeah.
And even like the Dolphins players, what the fuck, dude? Like, so again. Now you're restarting. Now you're gonna have to bring in another coach who might bring in a whole new system, who might bring in a whole new set of coaches, and you're gonna have to do this all over again. Like, you had some momentum. I know you didn't make the playoffs. I know, but you started 1-7, you finished 9-8. That's like major progress, especially for the Dolphins.
For them, in that division too.
In that division, like, it's not up for grabs. I think the Bills and the Pats they both have. Good organizations right now. They're both heading in the right direction. They both have Bills have a top tier quarterback. Pats are probably getting there with Mac Jones, but the Dolphins are and the Jets are a dumpster fire. So the Dolphins are like the only team that can really compete with those teams, and they were doing so. And Brian Flores was making waves, and he was like setting up the foundation for like the Dolphins to get back to where they were fucking 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And then you just say, all right, well, we'll try again with some other guy next year. Also, doesn't look good for the minority coaching candidates, coaching search.
Yeah.
Like, I know everyone wants to talk about that, and like, that's a huge thing, but like, that's not a good move.
No.
Not like, not obviously they didn't fire him because he's black. Like, don't think that's the reason. We never know. But like, why?
Yeah.
Why? If you've been dog shit for the longest time and you finally got a taste of success and you had someone at the helm who was able to kind of steer things in the right direction finally, again, dog shit franchise for a long time now, like, and you're like, all right, we'll try. I appreciate you this year. Appreciate you. Good luck. Thank you. But like, we're going to try someone else next year.
Brian Flores, because that was also my surprise. I feel like that was a power struggle, and the GM and the coach, they always have those different like random power struggle things, but they already said that during the next round of like coaching hirings, he's easily going to get some sort of job. He was doing very good. You could see what he was doing. only questionable position was running back. They had everybody and then some that was in the backfield. But that's with a lot of teams. They have running back by committee. I feel as though they should have tried it because Tua and Jalen Waddle were starting to hit their stride. Mike Gesicki was being a safety blanket that was there too. And the defense was looking good at points. So I don't like it because I feel as though someone else can come in. If they make the playoffs next year, it's not because of that coach. It is because of what Brian Flores and the GM did already. You putting another person in there gets to give them the shine, which I don't really like when that happens. Who's your enticing coaching position?
I mean, I think you'd easily have to say the Raiders, right? If we're talking about teams who like, okay, so their coach got fired for not
everything,
performance, but like other reasons. So we're talking about like the shitty teams that need a coach. I would probably say the Giants. If the Giants defense played really well, their defense kept them in a lot of games. Their offense was not there. Saquon Barkley, hashtag free Saquon. Saquon was hurt a lot. Daniel Jones was hurt a lot. They had the receivers in and out. Sterling Shepard was in and out. They had a lot of injuries. If that team is healthy and you get a guy in there and you build around those guys, you get an offensive line in there. They don't need any more skill guys. They have their skill guys, right? Daniel Jones, Barkley. You let those guys get healthy, okay? You let the receivers get healthy. You bring in some guys in the draft or free agency, whatever. But you build that offensive line to A, protect your franchise quarterback that you spent a top 10 draft pick on. B, open up holes for your franchise running back that you spent a number 2 pick on, who A is not a bust yet, okay? Like, it's not his fault that he got drafted to a shit organization so far.
Yeah.
And an organization that hasn't helped him so far. They haven't done shit to help him. You brought a Nate Solder. Why? What the fuck's he gonna do? Nothing. Nothing. And you've spent no draft picks or no money on guys in free agency on the offensive line. You got that kid from Georgia with one of your first round. He hasn't done anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's also development. So putting my GM hat on again.
Yeah.
So they need to either draft or go into they're gonna have a top 10 pick. They're gonna have a top 10 pick. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You need to make some moves in the draft. Draft some linemen, interior, a tackle, something. You need to get a stronger offensive line. Okay, or go through free agency. Free up some cap space somehow. I'm sure they can, and get somebody in there. Okay, if those guys are healthy, you bring in a coach that actually knows what the fuck he's doing. That wasn't a special teams coordinator up in New England. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. Just because you're coaching with Bill Belichick doesn't mean anything. Bring in someone who can relate to the players, who can be a player's coach. You have Saquon Barkley. When Barkley is healthy, everybody knows he's one of the 3 best players in the league. Not just running backs, the best players in the league. You saw what he did as a rookie. Okay. Yeah. He was a rookie of the year, for God's sakes. He had over 2,000 scrimmage yards. I know he's been hurt, but when he's healthy, he's one of the best in the league. So find someone who can coach these, put a good offensive scheme together and not rely on, someone like Jason Garrett, to do that for him. Bring in your mindset, get this team together, and get this team to the fucking playoffs.
That's that's the only thing that they need to do.
And that's a very winnable division. Because I don't know, winnable maybe a stretch because it depends on how much people trust Dak Prescott. Okay, because the Eagles
defense is legit. The Eagles should not have made the playoffs.
Eagles are hit or miss. The football team sucks. Sorry, Taylor Heineke. But
logo February 2nd.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. And yeah, the Cowboys, it depends on how much you trust those quarterbacks. But it's a very you can at least make the playoffs as a wild card if you don't win the division. So I'd probably say the Giants.
So I've gone back and forth with 3, and I think
I thought we were picking one. What the hell kind of game is this?
No, I'm picking 1. But I went back and forth in my head with 3. The 3 I was thinking, but I'll tell you the main one. The Giants, Bears, and Vikings. The main one I think can be enticing, but the GM has to be willing to put his big boy hat on and his pants can be the Vikings, but you can't have Kirk Cousins. If you get rid of, per se, Kirk Cousins or tell him he can't just fall off in like primetime games, it can be promising. They have Dalvin Cook, which if he stays healthy, surprisingly this year he was kind of healthy, they can do well. Justin Jefferson is one of the elite receivers in the league. Adam Thielen used to hold that position when it was him and Stephon Diggs. Adam Thielen still is good. You have Conklin that's coming alive as well. So I think that the Vikings remind me of a Memphis Grizzlies team, whereas they kind of are slowish pace like back in the day. You need them to shine. People don't care about this whole slow roll team. They want the limelight. They want the passing. Get it out there to Jefferson and Thielen and stuff. The Bears have too much. I think that GM has like a shitty job because you have two expensive ass quarterbacks, technically three, because you got Fields, you have Dalton, and then you have Foles. That's a lot of money you have just in quarterbacks.
I would say that the Bears over the Vikings because of Justin Fields.
Yes.
Knowing what kind of potential he is, having a guy like Allen
Robinson,
like
Montgomery.
And then is Jimmy Graham still on that team?
Yes, he is.
Shout out to Jimmy Graham though. My boy. And their defense is solid.
They have Matt.
You know, if Khalil Mack, when if he's healthy, comes back, which hopefully he will, then I would say, but that's also somewhat of a tougher division because you're not gonna win that division because unless Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay, but I would say them only because they have a quarterback.
Yeah. So the big thing with all three of those, and notice how we didn't mention the other four, it's a GM and head coach that are going to be hired. When you have a GM and a head coach, they can get more so on the same page and they can create things that are there. Whereas the other four, the head coach is kind of just like the puppet almost that's there. Like the GM will make all the decision and it's like, here you go. You end up like doing whatever we have with the team, which I don't like those positions when they do that because sometimes you're not on the same page. That's when the power struggle comes into play. But that's what I wanted to end up bringing up there. The other thing is Amazon owns the rights to Thursday Night Football, and the main person that they are potentially looking at is Marshawn Lynch. What are your thoughts on if they end up doing something like
Hold on, wait, say what? What do you mean?
Amazon is looking to have Marshawn Lynch as one of its commentators. So like people.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sign me up.
Thursday Night Football.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he is one of the most like likable players. Also just because of his personality and how he is, he's going to give it to you like how he wants to end up saying it. Between like, you got to count your chickens, or I'm just here so I won't be fine, or his Skittles stuff. And then even like his Uber commercials. Clearly he has that voice, not in terms of like the Peyton Manning, Eli Manning voice, but he has that just straight up, he's just going to say whatever's on his mind. So that's something I would look forward to end up seeing. And I think if they did do like a Marshawn Lynch on that, it would open the doorway for other athletes too to end up doing that. Another thing in terms of Thursday Night Football, it doesn't have anything to do with Thursday Night Football, but I was watching when RG3 and Andrew Luck were on. Andrew looks like a totally different player, like a person. He does not look the same at all.
If you didn't know who he was and you saw and they brought him on, you would have been like, who the hell is this homeless guy?
Yes.
I can't believe they found him.
Yes, I know.
I don't know where he was. I just want to know where he was, like where he hides at, like, where he's living at. Does he live in Indy? Like, does anyone know? Does he have a cell phone? Does he still have a flip phone? Like, what's he doing these days?
Yeah. So it's crazy how both of them that were drafted are both not in the league. So that was something else that I was thinking of with that. Real quick, we'll end up talking about college football. So what were your thoughts on the game and everything like that? And RIP Jameson Williams. I was mad about that.
Yeah. I think that was a turning point in the game because I think, well, first of all, good for Georgia.
Hey, Kirby Smart can get up.
Yeah, bro, he can. I was good for him on that one. I bet that hurt, but
yes.
I wanted Alabama to win because I just being a sports fan, like I'm over them dominating.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not over it in the sense like I want it to be done, but like I'm past the point of being mad about it.
Yeah.
Because like it's just gonna happen. Like it's just like the Pats. Like when the Pats kept winning, I'm like, like it's gonna happen. So like,
yeah,
like it is what it is. So I wanted them to win because I want to see it how many they can win. That would have been number 8 for Saban, number 7 at Bama, which he's still got 7 overall and 6 at Alabama. So it's not like
crazy.
It's not like he lost 5 with this one. So I just want to see them win just for the sake of them keep on winning and then see how many they can get until he's retired. It's probably going to lead to him dying after that. So I want Alabama to win, but good for Georgia. Been 40 years since they won, so shout out to them. I think Jameson Williams going down, which speedy recovery for him. He was supposed to go be in the draft, so we'll see how what the future holds for him. But I think if they had John Mechie and Jameson Williams in that game, I think Alabama wins easily. But obviously the game plan was changing when you lost John Mechie against Cincinnati, and then come to this game. It's all Jameson Williams basically. When he went down, I know you have other 5-star guys, and they said that Bryce Young was working with those guys after Mechie went down because they knew that they were going to play a bigger role. Don't think it mattered because Georgia was like, we don't care about these guys at all.
No, we care about the person.
Once he went down, that changed the entire game plan. And Georgia was like, okay, well, they're going to have to run the ball, which Brian Robinson did a good job. Shout out to him though. Shout out to Brian Robinson. I don't know if you saw this point in the game where they mapped out who he's been behind since he got to Alabama, and it's been like I think he was behind Derrick Henry, Damian Williams, Brandon, dude from the Raiders.
Oh, Josh Jacobs,
Najee Harris for 2 years, and then now he's the guy. So he's a 5th-year guy. He had time to transfer, but never did. Stuck it out. So good for him. But Georgia's like, all right, well, he's gonna have to run the ball, and we'll let them pass the ball to these guys who we have no idea who these guys are. So we're just gonna have to sell out and try to stop the run, and then Bryce Young is gonna make a mistake because these guys aren't gonna be running the right route. So there's gonna be miscommunication all over the place. So we'll just sit back and we'll play our game, and they did. In the first half, I don't think you could kind of pick which team was playing better. They were both kind of playing like shit, but the defenses were both playing. Georgia's defensive line, bro, was huge, literally and figuratively. Those dudes are enormous. And I texted you. I was like, it is crazy. And just specifically talking about Alabama, when I texted you, it is unbelievable how much faster Alabama players are than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care if they're playing Georgia, another SEC team who has a lot of dogs on their team. There's a lot of athletes on that team. Alabama guys, dude, are just faster and bigger than everybody else, minus Georgia's defensive line.
Yeah,
those dudes are, and it's just even. I watched the first half with Brooke. I watched the first half with my wife, and she's like, "Wow, they're faster than everybody else." I'm like, "You are absolutely." Yeah. I'm like, "You are absolutely right." She's like, "I feel like we watched Penn State in slow motion." I'm like, "Okay, all right." Like, okay, relax, dude. Okay, relax. There's no need for cheap shots. Okay, I get it. Like, I get it. We had a rough season. There's no need to rub salt in the wound, my friend. All right, I get it. I get it. But shout out to Georgia. It's been decades for them. Kirby Smart, Georgia alum, so good for him. Those guys. They finally slayed the dragon after losing in the title game a couple of years ago and getting their asses kicked in the SEC title game. They came back with a vengeance and they got it done. So good for them. But
yeah,
Alabama's going to be the favorite coming in next year. Not Georgia.
Every single year.
Not Ohio State. It's going to be Bama again. And Bama's going to fly under the radar because Georgia's getting all the love because they're the national champions. Another shout out. Since we're doing shout outs today, another shout out to Stenson Bennett.
Yes.
My guy.
Yeah.
I've been trying to think of the most random quarterbacks to ever win a national title. And if you don't follow the sport and you don't know his story about where he's been, community colleges, all this shit, played behind a ton of guys, thought about transferring, stuck it out, is from Georgia, told his dad at 3 years old that he was going to be the quarterback for Georgia. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't.
They all say that.
My kids tell me a lot of things right now that who knows what's going to happen. But shout out to him though. And did you see his interview on Good Morning America?
Yeah.
My guy was smacked
Yeah, he
at fucking 7:00 in the morning, bro. Why would you do that to him?
Had him up early,
bro. Why would you do that to him? Like, this kid is not gonna be.
No,
he didn't know where he was. He didn't know who he was talking to. He didn't know what they were talking about. All he was like, bro, I woke up 10 minutes ago.
Yeah,
I've slept for 3 hours. They asked him how many hours of sleep have you gotten? What are we doing to the kid, man? Let him go celebrate. Let him sleep.
In a bad situation.
Come on, man. Good for him. Good for Georgia. That's good story. They were the best team from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. So
yeah, that defense was shutting people out.
Yep.
Other thing I want to bring up, because didn't want to congratulate this person, but because people don't like to end games in ties, we have to end up talking about it. And the Steelers are one of the teams that made the playoffs. So before we get into the game picks, what were your thoughts on the Raiders and Chargers? And before we talk about this, I texted Steven before the game saying, what if it ends in a tie?
So a lot had to happen for the Steelers to make the playoffs.
Hell yeah.
The Jags of all teams had to beat the Colts. The Colts were balling out for the last half of the season. And you lose to the Jags. They didn't lose by like a point or so. They lost by a couple of touchdowns. So
why did they lose, Steven? Because of Carson Wentz.
Boom, your boy. So you got blown out by the Jags. That's embarrassing enough. So shout out to the Jags. Big shout out to them. Then the Steelers had to beat the Ravens, which wasn't easy. They went to overtime against the Ravens, and I didn't get without Lamar. I didn't get to see the end of the game because I had to go to a kid's birthday party, but I did follow it constantly while I was driving. So shout out to the Steelers. Shout out to Big Ben. And then you had to have the Raiders and the Chargers not end in a tie.
That's the funniest part.
Like all that had to happen. I was like, cool, we are in the playoffs. And I went to this birthday party. And my buddy, whose daughter had her birthday, he was like, what? Same thing like you texted him. He's like, what if this game ends in a tie? He's like, it's going to. I said, it's not. Like, there's no way that this game is going to end in a tie between these two teams.
The game should have. Like, none of them had anything to lose if you end in a tie. They both were going to make the playoffs. Yeah. That was the crazy thing. All the other things had to happen for them both to be like, let's end in a tie. We both make it.
If the Raiders lost, they still make the playoffs, right?
No.
So it was
lost. Only one team was going to make it in the playoffs if either team won.
Okay. Right.
And the Steelers were going to be the other team.
Right. Yeah. So and like the talk all week was, hey, let's just if we get to that point, let's just do it. Let's end in a tie. Now, that's like if that game ended in a tie, like there was going to be some conspiracy shit. There was going to be some major investigation into that kind of stuff. But I fell asleep. I think like in the beginning of the fourth quarter, and I told myself like, all right, I think that the Raiders were up by 10 or so, or around that. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like we Gucci, like we're going to the playoffs, no doubt. I wake up to like a bunch of texts, like, bro, did you see the way that game ended?
Stanley is the only one in the whole arena that didn't get the memo.
I'm like, oh no. So I watched the highlights, and having known the results when I woke up and I had watched the highlights, I just kept like, how is this possible? And it went to overtime. Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth calling the game. They were like, obviously, of course this game is going to overtime. Bro, that last kick, that ball was going left, like that ball was going this way, and then somehow went back this way. That kick was shaking right off the bat. And if I would have saw that kick live, I would have had a heart attack. I would have been like, you're effing kidding me that this shit is going that way, and the Steelers season is going that way with it. Bro, I could not believe that game came down to the last possible second.
And it shouldn't have. It was going to end in a tie.
And my guy called timeout. Why would you do that?
Timeout. Derek Carr was like, all right, come on. Like everyone knew.
I just couldn't believe that of all the things that had to happen in the day in consecutive order, the Jags had to beat the Colts. They did so. Check. Steelers had to beat the Ravens. Check. And this game had to not end in a tie. We were like, the check mark was just about going up. and he called a timeout. And like I just could not believe that the game was about to end in a tie. That close.
I've never seen something like that.
And but now it's like the Steelers. I have no expectations for the Steelers, by the way, in Kansas City on Saturday. No chance. Dude. The Chiefs are a 12.5 point favorite right now. Like there's the Steelers. The Steelers every time they make the playoffs, or kind of in this not winning the division and get the wild card. It's like fuck it. Like all right, well let's see how it goes. If we win, we win. If we lose, there's no expectations for us.
Yeah. So that's the crazy thing because I saw that. And I was like, I saw them afterwards, like everyone was talking, of course. And then you saw Austin Eckler's face, like surprised, because they're all like, you the only one that didn't realize, Brandon Staley, they were trying to just end in a tie. It would have been good for everyone. The whole arena would have been like, this is something we never witnessed. Like the last game in week 18 ends in a tie. Clearly, it would have been set up if it was that way. The Raiders, like, you know what? All the things we went through, let's pay it forward and be nice. Let's end in a tie. Like, that's it.
No.
Staley was like, nah, we're going to try and win. What would you gain? You would have just lost worse. If you would have just ended up being like, all right, let's call a timeout. Let's have a chance. Why? Just let the cards lay the way they want to. Anyways, the Raiders are in the playoffs. And I was like, you know what? For the Raiders season, hopefully they make the playoffs. And they did. So I was happy about that. So game picks. Before we get into that, I want to end up just letting everybody know how the season ended up ending for us. So Steven's record was 115 and 82. And then my record was 128 and 70. It wasn't that far apart.
Come on. That is very far apart. You're all right. Whatever. Let's get to the game picks. I'm done with this shit.
So we'll do this again next year.
No, we won't. No. I'm not doing it again.
Bengals, Raiders.
Bengals.
So I have the Bengals in that one. They look very good as of recent. Mm-hmm. Next one, Bills, Pats.
Bills. That's up in Buffalo.
Yes.
I believe it's supposed to snow. It's gonna be cold. I mean, it's cold up in New England too. It's gonna snow too, but Buffalo's a different level of climate.
So this is the craziest part about this game. If it snows and actually snows, I'm choosing the Patriots. Reason being, you saw how the Bills played last time. It was a blizzard up there. They acted like they didn't know how to stop the run. And then Harris decided to just run through everybody. Stevenson decided to run through everybody. Matt Jones hardly threw the ball. And then they won. But so I have the Bills in that one. Bucks and Eagles.
Next.
We have the same pick. Cowboys, 49ers.
Cowboys.
So this is where we end up being the same. So I have the 49ers in this one, surprisingly. I know it's a very big shock, but the only big thing is if Deebo Samuel goes off and George Kittle finds to exploit the defense, the 49ers can end up winning it. I believe the defense for the 49ers can hold up enough to stop the offense. Zeke isn't old Zeke, so kind of take him out of the picture. And then it's like Cooper Schultz and Lamb. If they can just do some sort of cover defense to end up making Dak have to run. Dak is not healthy. For everyone out there that believes Dak is 100% healthy, he is not. Look at the way he runs. That man does not want to run. So if they can find something with that and they can get to him, it can be the 49ers. Of course, the Cowboys more than likely probably will win because of that defense itself. But I'm going to go on a limb and say the 49ers. Steelers, Chiefs.
Next.
And final game, which we might not agree on this one, Cardinals and Rams.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this one.
It's not easy.
I mean, Stafford has thrown like 30 picks in the last 4 games. I'm probably gonna go with the Rams. Mm-hmm. That's tough though. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Rams. I like their defense better. I don't. But Stafford can really fuck this game up in a bad way. But I'm gonna go with the Rams. I like their defense.
So I have the Rams in this one too. I have the Rams for the simple fact that they have so many pieces. you almost need to win. It's not one of those like hopefully they win. They need to. You built this team for this year.
Yep.
So I want to see a Miller, Beckham, Cup, whoever's going to be running back can end up doing it. In terms of fantasy football wise, make sure you guys look at Cam Akers next year. It's a running back carousel back there with the Rams, but I have the Rams in that one. So that's everything for us today. We'll end up recapping this all next week to see what ends up happening. What you got for the people?
Real quick, next week I'm going to get back to the quick slants, and spring practice starts kind of in March, April type of thing. So until spring practice starts, we're going to go 1 week. It's going to be strictly Penn State football. Talk about recruiting, off-season stuff. We'll talk about. We'll tell a lot of stories. We have some people on for that, and then the next week we'll talk about other sports, NFL, NBA, NHL, whatever's going on outside in sports. So, took a little break, trying to think of some more content for that. Might make the episodes a little bit longer, but that's kind of what we have going forward with that. And shout out to former Penn State football great LeVar Arrington getting inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame, one of the best linebackers in college football history. So shout out to him, and shout out to the 12 early enrollees recruits that got on campus and started their college career, started the run to a national title for Penn State. This 2022 class is, if you guys have listened to the quick slants, you guys know that this 2022 class is going to win us a national title. I am putting it on the books. You heard it. You heard it here first. I've been saying that for a long time now, but this class is special. They had the All-American games this week for high school kids, and Penn State, I wouldn't say dominated the headlines, but all the guys that we had there, which I think we had 5 or 6 total between the two games, they stood out all week, and they were getting praise from everybody, not just the people who cover Penn State football, but they were getting praise from everybody. So, gets me hyped, as you know. Any little good news about Penn State football? We did lose our starting running back this year, Noah Cain, to the transfer portal today, but we do have 5 guys behind him. I expect one more guy to probably enter the transfer portal. We do have 2 5-star running backs coming in this year. One of them is the Gatorade National Player of the Year, and Nick Singleton. So we have 5 other guys who can start. But shout out to Noah Cain. Best of luck going forward to him. Hopefully he doesn't go to another Big Ten school, or hopefully he doesn't go to another team that can win a national title. So lots going forward with the quick slants, lots to talk about up until spring practice and the spring game up in April. So looking forward to all that.
So I'll keep mine short and brief. It'll just be shout out to my brothers. During this time off, I've been able to spend time with them, but then of course I always got some random things. One of my brothers has an appointment tomorrow, and I'm supposed to drive him back to school. His appointment's at 8:30, and he was like, "Chris, can you take me back to school at noon?" I legit texted him saying, "What the hell kind of appointment are you at?"
Yeah, bro. What is that? What is that? What kind of? I've never been to a 4-hour appointment in my life. Never been to a 4-hour appointment in my life.
And I said, "You better move that up." He was like, "All right, fine, 10 o'clock."
Yeah, bro. What are you doing for 4 hours? What kind of, is it a tattoo? What do we got going on here, my guy?
Exactly. So then the other one is, I came up the steps today and I was cooking in the kitchen at my parents' house, and he was upstairs in his room, and he came down like, "Hello." So he then heard the microwave, and he was like, I thought it was a robber, but then I was like, robbers probably wouldn't cook anything in the microwave. In terms of the robbery.
Bro, you got some funky ass brothers, man. You got some funky brothers there. 4-hour appointments, robbers cooking in the house. Man.
So that's all I got for y'all today.
Shout out to
we'll
them.
be back next week, and make sure to just stay tuned because Steve and I have a lot coming up. But with that, other than that, we out.
Peace.